The end came abruptly, yet my suffering lingers. We had a great relationship. The steady, supportive, stable, consistent kind. We met online. I wasn't overly attracted to him, but he was friends with a friend's brother, so I figured he must be a good guy. It was a slow build to our relationship, but we moved in together after 9 months. He worked long hours. I took care of all things house and home, including watching his dog. It worked. We had fun. We fought and made up. We made plans for our future. When people ask why I like him, I would say that he's just a really great guy. And I believed it for 2.5 years. The end of our relationship came abruptly. I got a message from an acquaintance from high school at 4 p.m. on a Wednesday. She works at a local hotel. She recognized Spencer from my social media. She tells me he's been frequenting the hotel with another woman. They often stay only a few hours. I ask for the dates at least 5 times in the month of August. Mostly from 7 to 11 p.m. Once a whole night stay while I was out of town. I look at my text messages from him to see what lies he told me on those dates. They're extensive. The most intricate included him helping a friend in a nearby town to load pigs on a truck. I found it odd that I'd never heard of this friend, and I couldn't understand why this guy didn't have other farmer friends. But Spencer's a butcher, so it tracked that it could be in the realm of possibilities. He got home after his hotel tryst that night, just after midnight. He came upstairs to our bed where I was sleeping and laid on top of me, holding me close. I asked him about his night, and he recounted the tale of herding pigs onto the truck. He was so snuggly that night. In hindsight, he was extra affectionate on all the nights he returned home after fucking Lorena in hotels. I didn't have a lot of time to process the information. It's 4 p.m. and Spencer had been without a car for a couple of months, so I'd been driving him to and from work every day. It was time to pick him up. He got in the car and kissed me hello as always. As I started to drive, there were hot air balloons in the sky. I had just purchased non-refundable hot air balloon ride tickets for us 2 weeks earlier. I pointed them out excitedly and told him how that was his surprise birthday gift and we were scheduled to go in a few days. He was so excited. He rubbed my neck, told me I was the best. He hasn't even asked why I turned the opposite direction from where we normally go to go home. I ask if he's felt disconnected lately. He says he's just busy with work, and with back to school, I'm a teacher, we're out of our routine. We'll plan a day to reconnect. He tells me about his day and his daily work drama. I listen attentively. He still doesn't ask or notice we're not heading home. I pull onto the street where the hotel is. Now he seems to be noticing. Asks what we're doing. I turn into the hotel parking lot and park. He's freaking out. What are we doing here? What's going on? I calmly turn to him, take a deep breath, and say, "Welcome to the worst day of my life." I know. I just need to hear you say it. I don't know where my calmness is coming from. I certainly don't feel that way. He won't look at me. He's silent for 10 minutes. I finally say, "I was really hoping you were going to say you had a surprise for me, and I just ruined it all." "I wish I could say that too," he finally says. "How long?" I ask. He holds up one finger without looking at me. 1 month," I say. One time he snaps, finally looking at me. More lies. I have proof of at least 5 hotel stays over the last month. He can't tell me why, but says he's not sure he ever loved me. He thinks he wanted to be happy, but wasn't. This hurts. But why not end it? Why pursue an affair? Is it even true? He just held my face in his hands, looking deep into my eyes, telling me that he loves me and nothing will ever change that. A few days ago, while we were planning a budget for our future, we were going to go look at rings. He asks me to drive him to his parents. I do. In hindsight, my badass confrontation would have been better if I'd kicked him out of the car. I whip home and my parents come meet me, pack his belongings into green garbage bags. They're shocked. We're all crying. He picks up his stuff that night, turns away, and doesn't look back. He owes me $25,000. He borrowed the money in October 2021 in order to pay back his employer, who made fake T4s in order for him to qualify for a mortgage. The deal was that Spencer pay the taxes that the business would have to pay to the CRA on the fake income. When he quit that job with that employer, the employer demanded the money. We were in love. I trusted him completely. I wrote him a check on my line of credit. Perhaps his willingness to commit mortgage fraud should have been my first red flag. He hasn't been able to pay anything since I lent it to him, except the interest. He was living rent-free in my home so he could save for a car and save for our future. He chose to spend his savings on hotel rooms and whining and dining with another woman all over town. Why wouldn't Lorena demand more? Why wouldn't she demand he break up with me before pursuing anything? Why hotels? Why wouldn't they go to her house? Turns out, she lives with her parents. They're in love. They're soulmates. They have a lot in common. They're both trained chefs and they work together closely at the same company. I do hope my pain was worth it. I hope they are soulmates, because that is the only thing that makes sense to me as to how or why you could do that to someone. I am a sucker for a good love story, and I'm sure they will rewrite the beginning of theirs. I hope he and Lorena are happy. I hope I get my $25,000. And I hope my pain subsides soon. Now let's look at the comments. Sue him for the $25,000. In my province, the small claims limit is $50,000. Check the limit in your province. You will need the cancelled check as evidence. Then you register the judgment you receive. You sound like such a badass woman. I am not just saying that. How the hell did you hold it together so well? I found out my wife was cheating by going through her phone, saved all the evidence by sending it to my phone, and 2 seconds later I woke her up. My situation was very fast-paced and on the fly. I'm happy with the way I handled it, but I wonder what would have happened had I been patient and more deliberate. I opted for a nuclear destruction. There was going to be no chance of rebirth in my situation when I finished with them. I think that if I had been in the US, I would have ended up in prison. I destroyed them both and moved halfway around the world. We were stationed in Korea at the time. Nonetheless, this comment is to tell you that I admire you. I'm not sure when it happened to you, but I hope things get better soon. I hope you have a note that he borrowed that money and documented proof of the payments, even if it was just the interest to prove the loan wasn't forgiven or a gift. If not, I doubt it very much if you ever see your money back. After all, his words don't mean much.